Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. In this video, we will be discussing about the program to reverse an array. So let us directly jump to the IDE. Within that IntelliJ IDE, we will be discussing the approaches, how to solve this program. So guys, in this video, we will be discussing two approaches to reverse an array. The first approach I will follow, so basically, if you look at the input array, this is our input array, and how do we want our output? We want our output to look like 4, 3, 2, 1, basically in the reverse order. So first approach, what we can do, let's create one separate method here, public void reverse one. I'm naming it one at the moment. It will take input of array, right? So within this approach, I will create a new array which will store the elements of the existing array in reverse order. Basically, it will store the elements of existing array from the right hand side. So what it will do, it will read 4 first, then 3, then 2, and 1. In that order, it will be storing itself. So how can we do this? So let's first of all, let's create an output array, and we all know the size would be same as the input array, so that is why we are keeping making it initializing it with the size same as the our input array, right? And this input array has been passed as an argument here in this method, so I am taking the size or array dot length, right? Now I'm using for loop here. Let's start. How do we read the last element first from the input array? Int I equal to, in our previous video we discussed this thing, array dot length minus 1. This index will give us the last element present in an array, right? Until what index we want to read, greater than and equal to 0. So basically we want to read element up to here, and this element is present at 0th index, that is why I'm using equal to 0. If I have used I greater than 0, then it would have read up to here only. It would miss, it would skip, it would not go to 0th element, 0th index element, I minus minus, because we are traversing, decreasing the I. Like initially I would be reading, I would be at the third index, then it would go to second index, then again it will go to first index and then 0th index. So that is why we are decrementing the value. Now output, now how do we store the value from at the 0th index, then first index, and second index, and fourth index in our output array? So for that, what we are doing, we are initializing another variable with 0, because we want to store from the beginning, right? So instead of 0, let's give it j, which is already initialized with the 0 value, right? Now what will happen with the 0? 0 is having j is having 0 value, so output of j will put values at the first index of output array, right? And we array dot I. So let's discuss this statement. So output, so this thing basically means that 0th index of the output array now will have the value of the from the array input array, which is present at the last index of the input array, basically. So let me write it here to simplify. Output array, 0th index of the output array, 0th index of output array will have element present at last index of input array, right? So and we will increment this. So I is already getting decremented using our for loop, but we have to keep on incrementing j value as well. So for that, we are using j plus plus. So this is it, guys. Now our output has has elements in the reverse order of the input array. So what we can do now, we can simply print this. So print, I'm using for each loop here. So I want to print output array, so that is why I'm iterating over output system dot output print ln and n. Shall we run it? Okay, let's run it. But before running it, let's call this function in our main method. So for that, I'm creating it, making it static, so that I don't have to create another object of this one. Let's run it. So guys, see, our input array has been reversed successfully. Now let us follow another approach. I think that second approach is better than this one. So that approach is related to the swapping. So basically what we will be doing, we will be swapping number present at the ith index with the jth index, and I will be having value initialized with 0 and j will be reading from the right hand side. So let's, I'm doing it, making it reverse 2 in same way. So guys, first of all, I equal to 0. So basically I want to iterate my array. I want to keep use two pointer. I will be pointing to this zeroth index, j would be pointing to this last index, and then I will be incrementing the I and decrementing the j. So first I will swap these two values, then I will increment I, which will point here. I will decrement j, which will point here. Now out these two things I will be replaced, swap. That's how we will reverse our array. The condition we what where we should stop our execution. We should be putting that condition like when we reach up to here. That means our I, when I is less than j, that means left hand pointer is less than j right hand pointer, then we should keep on executing. Once this becomes greater than or equal to j, basically left hand pointer and right hand pointer becomes equal, then we should stop our loop. So guys, let's write code here now. In j equal to, how do we take the index of the last element? We already discussed it so many times. Minus 1, length minus 1, while I is less than j. This is what we were talking about. Where do we stop? So we don't want to run it till here, because we are decrementing j in with every iteration. So whenever j reaches up to the value of I, that's where we want to stop. I should not become equal to or greater than the j, right? So this is condition we are putting here. Now I'm using one temp in temp I. So I'll explain why I'm using this. So basically, the objective of our swapping is that we basically want array of I, array of 0 to become array of, to have the value of presented array of j, right? So what we can do, array of I presented array of j, right? But now if I had not written this thing, if we do like this, then array of j was already assigned to array of I, right? So array of I is now having already array of j. So if you make it array of j, the array of j and array of I would have same values, because array of i's values were already updated with array of j. So that is why we are, before updating array of I, we are storing it into temp array of I. So instead of assigning array of I, I'm assigning temp. So we can do one thing here, initializing it every time. Let us do it outside, so that yeah. Now if we leave it like this, it will keep on running infinite time, because there is no I is not incrementing, j is not incrementing. So this condition will always be true, hence our loop will keep on running. So what we can do, I plus plus, because we first once leftmost and rightmost elements are swept, then we want to move ahead, second most left and second most right element. So for that, incrementing, right? So this is done, guys. And I like this approach more because this approach can be used even with the while we check the palindrome, whether an array is palindrome or not, or we want to reverse an array or character array with some specified condition, like if we are given a program to write two reverse vowels only present in a character array, then also we can use this thing. So please try that program, guys, and if you want, we can discuss that program in our later discussions. So now let's print this one. Again, I will use the for each loop. Now I'm not using any output because already our any same array has been updated with the values in reversed order. So that's only I want to print, right? So let's do it. So let's make it separate so that we can understand what is happening with what. This is related to using swapping. Reverse array using swapping here. This is the output after new array. Right? This in this we created new array. So I'm using n space because otherwise it will be printing in the same line. So this whole thing will be printed in a new line because we have used less n, line break basically. Oh, I didn't call this method here reverse to. Sorry, guys. Yeah. So reverse array using swapping, you see, it's all same. So now let's again run it for different test cases and different cases. So let in this case one of the things come when we do it, run it for only one case. One element is there. So the reversal will also be same. Now let's run it for the null array, empty array. So guys, it is basically returning us. It is not breaking, but we can put one condition here so that we don't have to go to for loop and initialize all these things. So for example, if I do it here, because we are allocating memories and everything. If array dot length equal to 0, basically the size of array is 0, so there are no elements present. What I want to do, I want to this return here will basically quit the execution of the program. It will not go and execute these further statements because we don't want it if this condition is true. So let's print it before it executes, exits the execution, no elements. Same thing we can it, copy our previous method also because we don't want to create, this array and initialize everything if our there are no elements in an array, so we can directly exit our program from here. That is why I used return here. So if I'm using if we use return in a void returning method, then basically act as a basically acts to quit the program from there on. So let's see. So see, guys, now these statements are not executed. See, it goes here and exits the program, and again in the second method same thing happens. It does not go till here. So let's run it now for some 1 comma 2 comma 3 so that it works for the valid cases. Yeah, see, now it doesn't go inside this. So this is it, guys. Thank you so much. All the best.